I'm Kathryn Nevin. I'm the clarinetist with CALICO. And I'd like to acknowledge that we have two esteemed guests playing with us today. Please welcome Patricia Cloud on flute and Kathy O on oboe. Our program today is featuring women composers of the 20th century. And we've chosen some works that kind of go back in history from the late 20th century and then reaching a little bit further back into the century. Our first work is by Gwyneth Walker, and she is also a 21st century composer. She's still alive and writing. She was the theory and composition teacher at Woodland for many, many years, and then left Woodland to concentrate completely on composition. She moved to Braintree, Vermont for a long while and lived on a dairy farm whose cows made milk for Ben & Jerry's ice cream. And she then returned to her birth city in Connecticut. So this Woodland Wind Quintet is actually referring to the name of the quintet that was part of the commission of the work. It does have some bird calls and a kind of, very pleasant pastoral quality to many of the sections of the one movement work. There is a dedication that I want to make sure I get the names right here. This music was commissioned in loving memory of Kate Powers by her parents, Christine and Ray Powers, her brother John Powers, and the director of the Woodland Wind Quintet, Licia Gambino Hamilton. It has a main theme that comes back in many different guises throughout the work, and that's kind of separated by contrasting music. It's very exuberant and lively, kind of emulating this sort of youthful exuberance. So Radie Britton is an American composer, born in Texas. She was born into a very conservative Methodist family and had a good amount of musical talent showing right away from early piano lessons and singing. And she was kind of a free spirit and a little bit independent for her time. She really, really lobbied her parents to allow her to go to college in music and study music and be a professional pianist. They made this deal that she would have to get a different degree first. So she went to a small religious college in Texas, and it wasn't until after that degree that she was allowed to move to Chicago and pursue another bachelor's of music in piano performance, where she also studied composition. Now, in her first 4 years of college, she was always pushing boundaries. Her personality was very intense for the time, and she was almost expelled from the school for such grievances as talking directly to male students. Or, I think there was one description of her, having a lot of trouble over the fact that she danced to some ragtime music in some, some hall that they had the radio blasting. So, as a newly, having her degree in music in Chicago, then she went and studied in both France and Germany, and then returned to Texas to teach and perform and write music, and then she eventually ended up here in Southern California, living out the rest of her time as a composer and teacher in the Palm Springs area. So this piece, this 4 serenades, is based on Sarabandes, is based on a type of Baroque dance that's called Sarabande, and it's in a triple meter, and it's generally slow, and it's really a mood departure from our previous piece. It's very dark, it's rich in the colors that she brings out of the instruments of the wind quintet. It's kind of somber at times, but the last of the 4 is a sort of scherzo, upbeat and uplifting. So a real contrast, but richly moving piece.
Hi, I'm Rachel Berry. I'm the horn player. And I actually read that at noon today, we start our second 6 months of the year. So if your resolution was to go to more concerts, you're on a good start. So Elsa Barraine is a really interesting person, but I have to go backwards because, when you first start playing and you're in high school and your first wind quintets, there's an anthology of wind quintets, and it had a yellow cover, and it was called the Yellow Books. And you used to play them on casuals, which are, when you're just playing background music, and you would flip over all the hard ones. And so, then I'm in a quintet, and we're researching all these women composers, and we've played many women composers concerts over the years. And I think it was during COVID. I don't know, somehow I suddenly realized that there was a woman composer in the anthology that I've had since high school, and it was Elsa Barraine. And so she was born in 1910. And actually, I'm gonna do a plug. We became subscribers this year to this Distinguished Speakers Series. They have one in Pasadena, Long Beach, Thousand Oaks, and Redondo Beach. And I learned about ChatGPT, and so I said to ChatGPT, I need to speak about Elsa Barraine for 3 minutes, and actually, they did an excellent job. And so for the first time, I'm being one of those people, I'm gonna read off my phone. But it's also interesting, Elsa Barraine won the Prix de Rome, and she was only the 4th woman, and she won it in 1929, when she was 19, and so the other woman is Nadia Boulanger, who won it apparently in 1913, and so I didn't get around to who are the other 2 women and why haven't we played any music by them, because the Prix de Rome started in 1803, so anyway, so that was one of my questions. Also was very active in French resistance, and was probably of Jewish origin, and so she actually really put herself in harm's way. Musicians in Paris apparently put on concerts of band music, so she was quite the woman. But the other thing, but this piece is called Ouvrage de Dame, which loosely translates to women's work. And if that sounds like a loaded title, it is. Barraine had a sharp wit and a sharper pen, and this piece is a little bit of both. It's playful, clever, sometimes a little cheeky. She's poking at the idea that women's creativity belongs in the parlor, in the background, or in embroidery. And instead, here, she is center stage with musical embroidery that's anything but delicate. And so we had a joke. I have 4 brothers, that a woman's work is never done was our joke when I was a kid. So I think each person name is actually fictional. But I'm sure she took it from people she knew. So you might hear unexpected turns, bold colors, a bit of whimsy, and ChatGPT. I love this. Think of it as needlepoint with attitude. So I'm going to empty my horn fully because I have no rests, and then we will play Ouvrage de Dame.